With pleasure, I present to the stage and to you a funny man, a guy who's devoted and patient and always working. Let me stop there and let him show you who he is with his humor. I'm talking about Don Hepner. Come on up, Don.
Brethren and sistern, the words of the text tonight are, old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to get her poor dog a bone. But when she got there, the cupboard was bare, and so the poor dog had none. These beautiful words, friends, carry with them warm meaning, and I propose tonight to analyze them for you, lofty though they may be, to our everyday life. Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to get her poor dog a bone. First then, Mother Hubbard then was old, and there being no mention of others, we may assume she was alone. A mere lonely widow. But friends, did she despair? Did she gnash her teeth? Or read a novel? And so the poor dog had none. And at that point our information ceases. What do we not know enough? Are we not cognizant of sufficient of old Mother Hubbard, the dog and the bone that was not there? Now suffice it for us to glean from this story the material frailty of human nature. Brethren, observe the three morals of my story. Lesson number one, always have more than one cupboard in the house. Lesson number two, to beware of keeping dogs that are fond of bones. And lesson number three, avoid being an old mother.
Thank you very much. My name is Don Hepner. You know, the problem I have every time I get up here is I don't know what to talk about, you know, because I'm not gay, I'm not black, and I'm not Jewish. But you know, my childhood was different. I'll tell you why it was different. It was different because I was the only kid in my neighborhood who peed the bed each and every night without fail. And that was an embarrassment and a disappointment. I'll tell you why it was an embarrassment. It was an embarrassment because one night I went over to a buddy's house to spend the night, and I was too embarrassed to tell him that I peed the bed. So they didn't bother to tell me there was an electric sheet on the bed. So unfortunately, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I electrocuted my friend and singed all the hair off my body. It was a disappointment, see, because it prevented me from being the one thing I wanted to be more than anything else when I was a kid, and that was a member of the Boy Scouts of America. Scouts on it. Because I'll tell you why. I used to have this fear that if I'd go out on overnight camp out with the Boy Scouts, the next day the headline of the newspaper would read, Boy Scout drowns in sleeping bag. And there were no girls in my neighborhood. so I never had an opportunity to play doctor. So I spent all my time in the library looking at National Geographic magazines and reading Shakespeare. And I found out something very interesting about Shakespeare. You probably don't know Shakespeare also wet the bed. It's true, he talked about it in Hamlet when he said to take arms against the sea of trouble and by opposing them. The rest of the time I looked at those special editions of National Geographic magazines. You know, the ones on African primitive societies. And you know, it was in the library where I had my first sexual experience. It's true, it happened on the 3rd floor one wonderfully warm summer evening. I'd been sliding up and down the 3rd floor banister, hanging on with one hand and in the other, a fold-out from National Geographic magazine. Ngawa. I don't know whether you know this or not, but for some of us older guys, National Geographic is the father of Playboy, Penthouse, Chic, Club, all those great magazines, because it gave us an opportunity to get a look at some real, bare nib-nubs. And you know something? Just the other night I got a look at a nib-nub. It's true, I was at a Christmas party. There were about 20 of us sitting around getting to know each other, smoking dope. Ooh, I'll take a hit off of that. 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 And seated right down there was a beautiful young lady. She had a newly born baby in her arms. The baby began to cry, and the next thing I knew, she's nursing the baby. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, every time I see somebody nursing in public, well, it sort of makes me feel uncomfortable. And my friends go, I don't know what's wrong with you, Don. I don't know. It's a beautiful thing. It's a natural thing. It's a normal thing. Well, it may be, but for me, it's just a little uncomfortable. And you know something? I think it was uncomfortable for everybody else there because the conversations kind of died down. I looked up, and people were kind of staring, talking to their shoes. I got these Florsheims at Main Company. The conversations quit. The baby finished. And I heard the mother say to the baby, do you want any more of this nibby before I put it away? And I heard myself say, ooh, I'll take a hit off of that. You know something? I just finished an experiment out at UCLA Medical Center. It was a male nasal spray contraceptive study. Thank you very much. Well, I didn't hear a big round of applause for that, but I'm going to tell you why I did it anyway. You see, I believe it's the male's place to take full responsibility for birth control. Thank you very much. But you know, for men, it's really difficult because there are only 2 types of contraception. The first type, of course, is a vasectomy, which is just another way of saying, hey, you've been spayed. And the second type of contraception, of course, are prophylactics, or rubbers, or condoms, if you like. And you know something? Now they have designer condoms. It's true, why not? They got designer chocolate. Calvin Klein condoms. Jordache condoms. We cover the back, now the front. And just a couple months ago, I went down to the fall fashion show to see the new line of winter condoms, designer condoms. And I want to tell you, it was a strange experience, see, because all the male models were parading up and down the runway dressed only in an erection and a designer condom. Sculptured, shaped, and toned like the men who wear them. One size fits all. That's a strange thing when you think about it. Prophylactics, one size fits all. You can buy gloves now, the one size fits all. I like to see 5 guys try to put that on. Athletic supporters, same thing, one size fits all. You know, I was so disappointed when I found out that I wore an extra large jock simply because I had an extra large waist. And you know, every time I go to buy rubbers, it's always an embarrassing thing because invariably there's always a clerk that's a female or a female pharmacist. And it doesn't matter if she's beautiful or if she looks a little bit like hammered dog poop. I always say something stupid. The other day I walked into the drugstore. There was a beautiful woman there. I walked up and she said, "Hi, May I help you? Yeah, is there a mail clerk or a pharmacist around? No, I'm sorry, they're all out to lunch. Oh, okay. Well, would you give me 3 prophylactics, please? Pardon me? Would you give me 3 prophylactics? The green ones, you know I'm trying to quit. So she reached behind her, grabbed 3 of them, and just before she put them in the sack, she read the back of the box and said, "Oh, one size fits all. How disappointing." Put them in the sack, sent me up to the cashier. I waited in the long line, got up to the cashier, and wouldn't you know, there was no price on them. And I couldn't believe what the cashier did at that point. She leaned into her microphone and said, "How much for the 3 prophylactics, the green ones? He must be trying to quit." Talk about something knocking your dick in the dirt. And then from the back of the drugstore, Betty yelled, "Oh, those rubbers are $1.85 plus tax. You know, one size fits all." So at that point, I was really frustrated. I was ready to go buy a bottle of rubber cement and paint one on as needed. So that's why I did this male contraceptive study out at UCLA Medical Center. It was really pretty easy. First thing I had to do was go into the hospital for 24-hour periods of time. The second thing I had to do is, well, they had to treat me like a prince and feed me like a king. Third thing I had to do is I had to give them blood whenever they wanted. And the fourth thing I had to do, I had to take, or rather sniff or snort, this male contraception. At first, I started out a little apprehensive. By the time the experiment was over, I sounded like a hog in heat. The fifth thing they had to do, well, they had to test to see if it was working. How can I tell you diplomatically what that was like? Well, the nurse came in with a Dixie cup, a National Geographic magazine, and pointed me to the 3rd floor banister. Now, the results of the experiment, well, is 100% effective. In 2 years, I didn't get anybody pregnant, thank you. But you know something? I think it was because of the side effects of the drug. All the hair on my body fell off. I put on 75 pounds. And I grew a set of nib-nubs out to here. And quite frankly, when you look like that, there ain't nobody going to fuck you. At this point in my life, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow old. I don't know whether I'm going to grow old as a president or a doctor, a lawyer, all those professions made available to me at my age. So I figured I'd probably grow old as a stand-up comic doing the same jokes until I'm 93 years old. And this is what it'll be like as a 93-year-old stand-up comic.
That's a mother. You know, I don't know what to talk about. I'm not gay, black, or Jewish. As a kid, I used to pee on Boy Scouts. Every time I get on the 3rd floor, I get a hard-on. I went to a party the other night, and there was a woman there with a kid, and I asked her if I could hit it. I just finished an experiment at Harvard University. I had to snort designer rubbers. Right now, I'd like to do an impression for you of one of my favorite people of all time. Impression of Albert Einstein. Thank you very much.
I got this theory about relatives, you know. Albert Einstein, thank you very much. I'd like to do an oldie but goodie commercial for you for Foster Grant sunglasses. Remember the ones with the celebrity wearing Foster Grant sunglasses? Van Gogh here for Foster Grant sunglasses. Recently, Ronald Reagan had some of his nose cut off because of cancer. Just proves one thing, cancer is contagious, you know. Because I know where he's had his head for the last 5 years. Recently, there's been a controversy about the classic Coke and the new Coke. Frankly, I've always been addicted to the classic Coke. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd like to finish up with one thing. An Italian who comes to Los Angeles, and he doesn't like it here very much at all. I don't like Los Angeles for the shit. I'm going to check in a hotel. I might go down the stairs for the breakfast. And I order a breakfast, and I order a ham and an egg and a 2-piece of toast. And the waitress, she bring a ham and an egg, but she only bring one apiece. And I'm going to say, hey, waitress, I want a 2-piece. She say, what are you talking about? You want a 2-piece? You go to the toilet. I say, no, you understand, I want a piece on my plate. She say, you son of a bitch, you can't have a piece on your plate. Don't know. She called me some bitch. Now I'm going to go upstairs in my room, and I look at the bed, and I ain't got no sheet. So I'm going to call down the stairs, and I say, hey, manager, I want a sheet. He say, you want a sheet? You go to the toilet. I say, no, you understand, I want a sheet on my bed. He say, you son of a bitch, you can't have a sheet on your bed. Don't know. He called me some bitch. Now I'm going to go down the stairs for the lunch, and I sit down at the table. I got a knife and a spoon, but I ain't got no fork. And I'm going to say, hey, waitress, I want a fork. She say, what are you talking about? Everybody want a fork. I say, no, you understand, I want a fork on the table. She say, you son of a bitch, you can't have a fork on the table. Don't know. She called me some bitch. Don't like Los Angeles for the shit. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My name is Don Hepner, and I just want to wish you all Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
That's the versatility of Don Hepner. Boy, oh boy, what a hilarious character he is. And that's just a partial sampling of this guy. He is just too much. We really like him a lot here at the Natural Fudge Company. And hope you're all kind of getting into the spirit of things and go ahead and do it. You know, it's the Christmas weekend, by God. Let's all contribute to the enjoyment by relaxing and having a good time.